Welcome to my channel Old Valuable Chiller. Today we are deep diving into fascinating history, details, and value of the Canadian 1-cent coin from 1996. The Canadian 1-cent coin 1996, also known as the 1996 Canada penny, is a small but important part of Canadian coinage history. Many collectors and enthusiasts are always curious about the 1996 Canadian penny because it holds a special place in circulation history, design significance, and collectible value. The Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 was produced by the Royal Canadian Mint. It was struck in large quantities for everyday use in Canada. Yet for collectors, certain details make the 1996 penny from Canada worth looking at more closely. The coin is made primarily of copper-plated zinc, part of a transition period in Canadian coinage when the Royal Canadian Mint was reducing production costs by moving away from solid copper coins. The obverse of the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Dora de Pederhunt. This portrait was first introduced in 1990 and continued to be used on Canadian coins for many years. The reverse design of the 1996 Canada 1-cent coin features the famous maple leaf twig, designed by George Kruger Gray. This maple leaf design has become iconic, representing Canada and its identity on coins for decades. For collectors, the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 can hold different values depending on its condition. Circulated examples of the 1996 Canada penny generally hold only their face value, but uncirculated or mint state coins can be more valuable. Collectors often seek coins graded in higher conditions, where the details of the maple leaf and Queen Elizabeth's portrait remain sharp and clay. The Royal Canadian Mint also produced proof-like and specimen sets in 1996, which included higher quality versions of the 1-cent coin. These sets were targeted toward collectors, and today they remain desirable, especially if kept in pristine condition. The 1996 Canadian 1-cent coin is also interesting because it belongs to a decade where Canada was still producing pennies in high volumes, before the eventual discontinuation of the 1-cent coin in 2012. This means that while the 1996 penny from Canada is not extremely rare, it is part of the last generations of Canadian pennies that are no longer made today. For this reason, many people collect the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 as part of a complete Canadian penny collection spanning from early years all the way to the final year of production. Another important aspect of the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 is its composition. In 1996, the Royal Canadian Mint was striking pennies using copper-plated zinc, which made them lighter than earlier old copper coins. This change in metal composition is significant because collectors sometimes notice differences in color, toning, and wear on these coins compared to older Canadian pennies. The weight of the 1996 Canadian 1-cent coin is about 2.5 grams, and its diameter is 19.05 millimeters. These technical details are important for identification and authentication, especially for those who want to make sure they have an original coin from 1996. In terms of mintage, millions of the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 were struck, making it a common year in circulation. However, the real value for collectors lies in finding coins in excellent condition, free from scratches, discoloration, or circulation marks. Some collectors also look for errors on the 1996 Canadian penny. Minting errors, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or double dies, can increase the value of a coin significantly. If you have a 1996 Canada penny with unusual features, it might be worth showing it to a coin dealer or researching further, as error coins often attract high collector interest. Collectors often include the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 in albums, alongside other pennies from the 1990s. When building a Canadian penny collection, enthusiasts usually try to include at least one example from each year, making the 1996 penny an essential piece. Over time, as fewer Canadian pennies remain in circulation, the 1996 Canada 1-cent coin is becoming harder to find in pocket change. This scarcity adds to its collectible appeal, especially outside Canada where the penny is no longer commonly seen. When considering the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 value, it's important to remember that most circulated examples are worth only a small amount above face value. However, mint state coins or coins in collector sets can reach higher values. For example, an uncirculated Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 might sell for a few dollars, depending on the market demand and condition. Proof-like or specimen set coins can be even more valuable because of their superior strike quality and finish. Collectors also value coins with full luster and no spotting, which are harder to find after so many years. The Canadian penny has always carried sentimental value for Canadians. Even though the penny was phased out in 2012, the 1996 Canadian 1-cent coin continues to remind people of everyday life, childhood memories, and the long-standing symbol of the maple leaf in Canadian culture. Many people still keep a jar of old pennies, and the 1996 Canada penny is often found among them. Holding one of these coins connects you directly to Canadian history and the legacy of small change that once circulated in the millions every day. For international collectors, the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 is also appealing because it represents a country's heritage through its design. The maple leaf reverse is recognized worldwide, and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II ties Canadian coinage to the broader Commonwealth tradition. Whether you are a beginner collector or an experienced numismatist, the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 is a coin worth adding to your collection. In conclusion, the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 may seem like a small and ordinary coin, but it carries with it a rich story of Canadian coinage, minting technology, cultural symbolism, and collector interest. From its copper-plated zinc composition to its iconic maple leaf design, from its large circulation numbers to its collectible versions in proof-like and specimen sets, the 1996 Canada penny is more than just a piece of change. It is a reminder of Canada's history, a collectible coin for enthusiasts, and a fascinating subject for anyone interested in coins. Whether you have a single 1996 Canadian penny or an entire roll of them, each one is a part of Canadian numismatic heritage. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the Canadian 1-cent coin 1996 from Canada. If you enjoyed learning about the history, value, and details of the 1996 Canada penny, make sure to stay connected for more coin videos that explore the stories behind coins from Canada and around the world. Now we will explore the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 from Canada, also known as the Canadian penny 2000. This small yet historic coin is an important part of Canadian numismatic history, and collectors from around the world are always interested in learning more about it. The Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 may look like an ordinary penny, but in fact, it carries unique details, history, and collector value that make it more than just a simple piece of change. The Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 was struck by the Royal Canadian Mint, which is known worldwide for its craftsmanship and quality. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Dora de Petterhunt, which had been used since 1990. The reverse of the coin shows the iconic maple leaf design created by G. Kruger Gray, which has been a symbol of Canada for many decades. This maple leaf design became one of the most recognized images on Canadian coins, and the 1-cent coin 2000 is no exception. When it comes to the specifications, the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 is made of copper-plated zinc, as the composition of the penny had changed during the 1990s to reduce costs of production. The weight of the coin is 2.35 grams, and the diameter measures 19.1 millimeters. Even though the value of the coin is just 1 cent, its history and meaning go far beyond its face value. Collectors are especially interested in the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 because it was part of the final decade of production before the penny was discontinued in Canada. The Canadian government officially stopped circulating the 1-cent coin in 2012, which means coins like the 2000 penny are no longer minted or used in everyday transactions. This fact gives the 2000 Canadian 1-cent coin special significance, as it represents the end of an era in Canadian coinage. The mintage of the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 was quite large, with hundreds of millions struck for circulation. However, even though there are many examples, coin condition plays an important role in determining value. Circulated coins usually only carry a nominal worth, often just a few cents, but uncirculated coins or coins in mint state condition can be more desirable to collectors. Proof-like or specimen coins produced by the Royal Canadian Mint are especially valued. If you look closely at the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000, you'll notice the fine details in the maple leaf design. The sharp edges of the veins on the leaves, the texture of the stem, and the positioning of the leaves all highlight the artistry of Canadian coin engraving. On the obverse side, the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II captures a younger portrait of the monarch, reflecting her long reign across multiple decades of Canadian coinage. Numismatists and coin enthusiasts often look for varieties or errors in the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000. Like many coins, the 2000 penny may include minor minting errors such as die cracks, off-centering, or doubling, which can increase its numismatic value. Collectors are always on the lookout for these special versions because even a small error can turn an ordinary penny into a rare and valuable collectible. The Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 is also remembered by many Canadians as a symbol of everyday life. For decades, the penny was used for transactions in shops, to make exact change, and to save up in jars or piggy banks. The 2000 penny represents not just currency, but also nostalgia and memory for millions of Canadians who grew up using it. Even though the coin is no longer in circulation, it still holds a place in the hearts of people who remember it as part of daily life. For coin collectors around the world, the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 from Canada is a popular piece to add to their collection, not because of its high value, but because of its historical importance. The year 2000 also adds a special millennium significance, making this coin an interesting keepsake of that era. Many collectors like to preserve Canadian pennies from 2000 in protective holders to prevent tarnishing and to keep them in pristine condition. The coin market often reflects demand for Canadian 1-cent coins, and the 2000 penny is no exception. While circulated examples are very common, uncirculated rolls of 2000 pennies, proof-like sets, and error coins can be sold to collectors at higher values. The Royal Canadian Mint also issued uncirculated coin sets in the year 2000, which included the 1-cent coin as part of a full collection of Canadian coins from that year. Understanding the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 also gives insight into Canadian history. Canada's decision to phase out the penny was largely based on economic reasons, as it cost more to produce the coin than its actual value. The 2000 penny sits within that context, as one of the many coins leading up to the end of the penny's use. For historians and economists, this little coin is an example of how monetary systems evolve with time. The Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 remains an accessible collectible for beginner numismatists, since it is inexpensive and widely available. However, those who search carefully may find rare varieties or coins in exceptional condition that stand out. Many collectors enjoy searching through old rolls of pennies or checking inherited coin collections in hopes of discovering a valuable example of the 2000 Canadian penny. Even though its face value is just 1 cent, the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 symbolizes far more. It reflects national identity through the maple leaf, continuity through the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, and change through the eventual discontinuation of the penny. For many collectors, owning a 2000 Canadian penny is a way to connect with Canadian history, culture, and tradition. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone who simply enjoys learning about coins, the Canadian 1-cent coin 2000 from Canada is a fascinating subject. Its design, history, composition, and legacy all contribute to its enduring appeal. The 2000 penny might be small, but its story is big. It stands as a reminder of Canada's past, the artistry of coin design, and the value of preserving history through numismatics.